With the establishment of the First Galactic Empire, 1,000 generations of scattered, decentralized authority were replaced with autocratic rule on an unprecedented scale. Stripped of much of its power, the Imperial Senate ceded its authority to a new system of regional governors. 20 formidable individuals appointed the title of Moff and entrusted to fulfill the directives of the most determined and powerful regime the galaxy had ever seen. First among this cabal to earn the title of Grand Moff was a man whose very name would come to define the essence of the Empire itself, Moff Tarkin. Born to a wealthy and influential family on the planet Eriadu, Tarkin was raised on the principles of respect, discipline, obedience, and self-reliance. He spent much of his childhood learning to survive in the savage wilderness of Eriadu, a wilderness his ancestors had helped tame. These early lessons helped prepare him for a career of military service, one that began in the Outland Region's security force. Here, Tarkin displayed a unique talent for anti-piracy work, adapting the survival and hunting techniques he had used on Eriadu for use in space combat. His success against Kana's marauders, and the brutal methods through which he achieved that success, made Tarkin a controversial but respected figure. While attending the Sullust Sector's Spacefarers Academy and preparing for a career in the Judicial Department's paramilitary forces, a chance encounter with Sheev Palpatine, then a senator of Naboo, influenced Tarkin to consider a career in politics. Eventually, with Palpatine's support, Tarkin became the governor of Eriadu. Shortly before the outbreak of the Clone Wars, Tarkin was approached by Dooku, a former Jedi Master who had left the Order and reclaimed the title Count of Sereno. Disillusioned by perceived corruption within the Republic, Dooku attempted and ultimately failed to sway Tarkin and Eriadu to join his separatist movement. Tarkin's loyalty further impressed Sheev Palpatine, now Supreme Chancellor of the Galactic Republic. With the declaration of the Confederation of Independent Systems and the outbreak of hostilities, Tarkin resigned from his role as governor and became one of the first officers of the newly formed Republic Navy. Tarkin served in a number of decisive battles before being briefly captured and imprisoned by Separatist forces. His rescue by famed Jedi Knight Anakin Skywalker led to a sort of mutual respect between the two, but failed to alter Tarkin's assessment of the Jedi as a whole. Tarkin believed the Jedi Code was ill-suited for a galactic war, and he recommended that the Jedi be gradually phased out of military command. Following his escape, Tarkin was appointed to the Special Weapons Group within the Strategic Advisory Cell on Coruscant. The purpose of this group was to oversee the development of a new kind of battle station. Shortly after, Tarkin was promoted to the rank of Admiral and became a key figure in developing high-level strategic operations in the ongoing war against the Confederation of Independent Systems. The end of the Clone Wars and the establishment of the Galactic Empire thoroughly transformed the political landscape of the galaxy. Through his connections with now Emperor Palpatine, Tarkin secured a position as Moff, as well as a seat on Imperial High Command. With his newfound influence, Tarkin became intimately involved in the activities of advanced weapons research, the successor to the Special Weapons Group and now under the authority of the Imperial Security Bureau. While here, Tarkin founded a secret think tank that would come to heavily influence the projects undertaken by the AWR. Tarkin was among the foremost champions of Project Stardust, which had inherited the idea first proposed during the Clone Wars for the construction of a moon-sized deep space battle station. He was widely suspected to be the Emperor's personal eyes and ears within the project, leading to a rivalry with its other high-ranking officials, particularly Director Orson Krennic. As Stardust progressed, Tarkin was also tasked with the integration of various worlds that had resisted Imperial authority. Among these was Mon Cala, which, despite Tarkin's efforts, would eventually become one of the primary benefactors of the Alliance to restore the Republic. After pacification campaigns in the Western Reaches and the corporate sector, Tarkin was rewarded for his efforts with a promotion to the newly created office of the Grand Moff. With unrivaled authority over the entire Outer Rim territories, Tarkin contributed to the shaping of general Imperial policy, with the galactic media coining the term the Tarkin Doctrine based on several of his opinions and political beliefs. In his new role, Tarkin toured the Outer Rim, ensuring the region was operating at peak efficiency to help sustain Imperial infrastructure and expansion efforts across the whole of the galaxy. He also managed the Empire's efforts to hunt down and destroy the growing threat of rebellion, developing a working relationship with Grand Admiral Thrawn and Darth Vader, perhaps the most trusted servant of the Emperor. Tarkin believed the ultimate solution to the Rebel Alliance was the deployment of Project Stardust, now officially named the DS-1 Orbital Battle Station, or the Death Star. Tarkin personally supervised the installation of the station's superlaser and took direct command of the station following the Battle of Scarif, in which the plans for the Death Star were stolen by Rebel spies, and Orson Krennic was killed. Aboard the DS-1, Tarkin was determined that the station's weapon be used on the still undiscovered Rebel headquarters. Despite the interrogation of Princess Leia Organa, daughter of a prominent former senator and suspected Rebel sympathizer, the location of the Rebel base remained hidden. Still driven to use the station's full power, Tarkin directed that Alderaan, homeworld of the Organa family and highly sympathetic to the Rebel cause, be destroyed. With the destruction of Alderaan, Tarkin believed that the futility of resisting the Empire had been made clear to the entire galaxy. With the eventual discovery of the Rebel base on Yavin 4, Tarkin ordered it too to be destroyed, forcing the Rebel Alliance into what he considered a final, suicidal attack on the station. During the Battle of Yavin, Tarkin was informed that the Rebel attack was based around a previously unknown critical weakness in the design of the Death Star, but believing the rebellion strategy to be ultimately futile, he opted to remain on board the station. This decision would cost Grand Moff Tarkin his life, when mere moments before Yavin 4 was destroyed, a single Rebel starfighter broke through Imperial defenses and ignited the station's reactor core with 2 proton torpedoes. His death sent shockwaves across Imperial leadership, and his legacy remained divisive within the Galactic Empire until its collapse. Many placed the failure of the Death Star solely upon Tarkin himself, lamenting how many other projects might have been funded with the resources directed towards the battle station. While his ultimate role in the collapse of the Empire remains debated to this day, there is no denying that Tarkin was an imposing and enormously proficient individual. His experiences as a hunter on Eriadu instilled in him a strong belief that life was a constant struggle for survival. He expressed this belief through the ruthless and relentless pursuit of his goals, and his ambition was perfectly suited for a career in the Galactic Empire. He fiercely advocated for a strong Imperial military and placed enormous emphasis on the power of fear and intimidation. He held little tolerance for failure and was known to summarily execute those who had failed while under his command. He was also known for his sharp memory and never forgot or forgave any slight against his character, either intended or perceived. Mon Mothma, one of the most prominent members of the Rebel Alliance and the first Chancellor of the New Republic, once described Tarkin as a heartless skeleton held together by the stiffness of his uniform. That opinion is likely shared by much of the greater galaxy, but within the unknown regions, Grand Moff Tarkin is held in much higher esteem. Within the First Order, squadrons and legions bear the names of those they consider the greatest Imperial heroes. Tarkin is among them, and the squadron of First Order TIE fighters that carries his legacy may yet have the chance to fulfill the vision left unfinished by the First Galactic Empire. In Dossier, the Templin Institute investigates the legendary figures from alternate worlds. If you have a suggestion for a future episode, let us know in the comments section, and if you'd like to support us directly, a link to our Patreon can be found in the description.